So what is going on, guys? Mr. Dalek JD here, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Advanced Warfare video. And today I've got for you a speculation video. We're going to be looking over a few things that we've seen throughout Call of Duty Advanced Warfare multiplayer, and a few things that I think is definitely overlooked and something that hasn't really been looked upon. Now, bear in mind, this is just speculation, it's just a theory, so do not take this as concrete evidence. But if you guys do agree with me, do drop a like rating down below on the video. I really appreciate to get some hype on this, and I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts. So around about a week and a half ago, Microsoft and Activision announced a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Limited Edition Xbox, which came with an Xbox covered in awesome Advanced Warfare branding, as well as a really nice Xbox controller. And a lot of us, including myself, noticed something very special on that controller. I made a video covering this, and I jumped to the conclusion and said that it was definitely zombies returning, because we've seen tally marks in Call of Duty before. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a clip from a show that GameSpot have every week called Aim Down Sights, which is a show dedicated to Call of Duty news. They had an episode where they spoke with Michael Condrey at Gamescom, and they lightly touched on co-op.
And heck, we haven't even touched on co-op yet. So yeah, there's more announcements to come between now and November.
You say you haven't touched on it. I'm guessing you can't touch on it right now.
Well, I can dance around it a little bit and tell you we have one.
Waltz away.
Yes, we have one, and it's 4-player, and it's our take on it, and there's nothing on the controller that tells you anything about it. In case you're following Twitter and you think there's some weird hieroglyphic on there that says there's a magic code.
Some kind of secret Easter egg that you're trying to get out there.
Next to dead silent, that's probably the most common tweet I've got today. It's like, oh, we deciphered your controller and we have understood what your co-op mode is. And well, that was creative. It's not quite true.
So in his response there, we can gather that our assumptions of it being zombies due to the tally marks on the controller is actually not quite true. He didn't say it's completely false, but it's not quite true. And interestingly, he worded it saying that it's our take on it, so it's their own take on co-op. So it's going to be something not like zombies, but it could be something similar to zombies, or it could have enemies that aren't zombies, but in the sense it is a similar game mode where it's a survival mode where you're fighting against waves of enemies. So this got me thinking, in what else could it be? We've had the idea of cyborg zombies, and that's been something going around for absolutely ages, but I've got a new idea slash theory that I want to share with you guys, and like I mentioned at the start, I'd love to get your feedback on this. So in all of the full multiplayer maps that Sledgehammer Games have shown off so far for multiplayer, practically every single one has had some sort of connection in some way, and it's very, very subliminal and very, very small. But around the map, there are loads of weird but very unique, distinct things that a lot of people are missing, and they're literally just walking past during gameplay and have not really given any thought about. So if we take a look at the first map, Biolab, straight away from the loading screen, this looks very weird, as we can see sort of 3 test tubes with what looks like humans inside this weird liquid, kind of just submerged, almost unconscious and almost lifeless, I guess, in these weird tubes. Now straight into the game we see a logo of a company which is based surrounding the storyline of this map, which is called STEM Bionics, which is really interesting, as there's an actual kind of clash of 2 different sort of scientific terminologies here. So stem cells are cells which can literally be remade to form any particular cell. So say for instance someone needs a new body part replacement, rather than getting a replacement one, you can use stem cells to literally grow and create a new one, which is pretty crazy. But then on the other side, there's the stem cells, or there's also bionics, which is pretty crazy, where instead of replacing it with a growth of a human organ, something could be replaced with something entirely, like for instance eyesight could be replaced with a kind of bionic telescope, rather than someone having a literal new eye grown for them. As you can see from the screenshot I had on screen and now a new one, around the map there are several parts of the map where areas are literally taken up for what looks like human testing, where humans are submerged kind of in this weird state, and my suspicions are these aren't humans, because around the map we also have words like surrogacy center. So my suspicions are telling me that these are like sort of hybrid humans. They aren't something, but they definitely aren't human. There's something quite not right with this. Now, a surrogate is someone who usually carries someone else's baby. For instance, for someone that can't literally have children, they'll inject their eggs into another woman in this case, who will then carry someone's baby. So what could be happening is these sort of hybrid humans that are kind of submerged in this weird liquid could be carrying something not human. In other parts of the map as well, you can see this, and I've zoomed it in on the walls here. You can see computer screens which are showing a human skeleton which is doing a DNA check. I'm not too sure why, but there's definitely a focus on the brain activity of this person, and it just seems very, very weird. Now, this multiplayer map is based off the campaign level in the game, which is suitably called Biolab, and the kind of main gist of that story mission is that DNA manipulation and replication is the key. So if DNA manipulation and replication is going on in the campaign mode, that is transferred over to the multiplayer, and that's what we can get from the whole gist of this multiplayer map. So keep in mind DNA manipulation and replication, the fact that we're taking things and they're being replicated. It doesn't sound very good, does it? Now, if we jump into the next multiplayer map I'm going to look at, which is Riot, which is set in a prison. Straight away from the loading screen, again, every single jail cell has a computer screen on the side of it which has information on every person stored in there, as well as a whole skeleton and brain activity scan. Now, the weird thing is, not every cell has a brain attached to it as well. Only like one main cell on the left or right side of each kind of column will actually have a brain with it as well. So that means the cell on the far end has a body or human inside with a brain, and the rest of them don't. So my suspicions is this prison could actually be sort of like a cloning facility where there'll be a real human in one of the cells, and next to it would be an artificial replication of that person. It just seems like a very weird setup, having so many prison cells and not all of them have a brain with the human body that's inside them, and the whole kind of setup for it as well just seems very, very weird, and there must be some sort of explanation for why this is all happening. Now, just as a side note, the map is called Riot, and around the map you can see loads of vehicles that are on fire that have literally crashed into different bits of the map. There's parts of buildings which vehicles have been driven into, and parts like near the side of the prison cells, like walls have been destroyed, so some people could be actually released and let go. So it's very weird, but this is all just a theory. So all in all, I'm saying that if it's not cyborg zombies, maybe we could be looking at some sort of bionic human clones that have gone wrong, and there could be some weird story revolving around whoever's actually come up with the idea of cloning people. But Bionics is not something that is too far-fetched, as it is in today's day and age. We have seen some people whose limbs have been replaced purely by bionic and robotic machinery. For instance, like I've seen people that have been born without a left hand, so they have their actual like a bionic hand on their arm, which works exactly like a human hand, which is very weird. Take in mind this game is set in the year 2052, around then 2054, so technology has expanded vastly during that time frame, and of course with anything with machinery it's bound to go wrong at some point, at one point or another. So it's very likely that maybe, this is just a theory again, that perhaps whatever's been going on looking into the research of Bionics has gone wrong, and there's some sort of hidden evil subplot with cloning humans and looking at Bionics and stuff like that. Now, a lot of you may think that this whole kind of theory is a little bit far-fetched, but this stuff is in the multiplayer maps for a reason. They wouldn't just add it just for the sake of it. And in previous Call of Duty games, some multiplayer maps have had some sort of backstory towards some parts of the game, so it wouldn't be overly crazy to say that this could be related. I mean, there has been little Easter eggs in other games, like in Black Ops 2 multiplayer maps. Around the map you see little notes which say the zombies are coming. I mean, that's pretty obvious that you know that zombies are in that game anyway, but it's a nice little Easter egg to throw to the co-op mode, so it's not exactly out the way to say that the stuff we've seen so far could not be hinting, because you never know, it could be. But like they said before at the start of this video, it's their own take on it, so it's their own take on the co-op mode. I'm sure they know that survival isn't exactly the funnest mode in Modern Warfare 3 to play. Zombies is definitely a lot more exciting, a lot more fun. I know a lot of us would love to see zombies, and in my honest opinion, I wouldn't mind if they did have zombies but completely changed it. Like in, for instance, you know, it's not Treyarch zombies. They could have a completely new storyline, they could have new weapons, new everything. But I'm not saying that zombies is in the game, but there is going to be some sort of co-op mode, survival, where we'll be fighting against waves of something. This could be potentially be bionic humans or bionic robots or something related to that. If you guys enjoyed this Fury video, do hit the like button down below. This video did take quite a while to make, and I made sure that I, you know, looked up this stuff, and I just generally noticed it, and I thought, wow, this has not been spoken about. This is literally in the game, and no one's really touched upon it because people have just been too busy playing the multiplayer maps and not really looking towards these multiplayer maps. But we will be getting some co-op information probably in around about 2 months time. It's going to be really long before we find out anything, but if you guys want to stay up to date, make sure you click the subscribe button down below as well, so keep you guys up to date on all the latest Advanced Warfare information. I'll bring you guys a load of awesome stuff over the next few weeks. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.